Who is in the best 23 for the Tigers this year? Here at Zero Hanger, we've made our call and we're going to break it down line by line for you right now. But before we do, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. We have plenty of footy content coming out this year, and jump into the comment section if you disagree or agree with us. We'd love to hear about that. So for now, Richmond Tigers, best 23. But before we get into it, don't forget that ZeroHanger.com is the #1 independent AFL news source for all your AFL news, trades, draft content, and now games. Check out our latest game, AFL Streakr. Test out your footy stats knowledge and see if you can get your name on the leaderboard. All right, and here to break down the best 23 for Richmond this year, Aidan Celini. How are you, mate?
Good. Although I'm missing the accent there. I was a little bit disappointed, but good, we got it. No, good, very good. Better now, but good.
All right, so Richmond, obviously, abysmal year last year, bottomed out essentially, but then went crazy at the draft. So it's going to be interesting to see which of those, I think, 20 draftees make it into the best 23.
It felt like it, to be honest. I just kept reeling off names at draft night. But there'll be plenty of new faces. They're going to clearly blood some youngsters who were very, very raw and obviously early in the AFL development. So it's exciting from a Richmond perspective, especially given the fact they only won a flag 4 or 5 years ago, and that was their third one of that dynasty that they did produce. So definitely happy, I think, is the word Richmond fans would use right now.
Absolutely. All right, let's get to the defenders. All right, so starting with the defenders, Nick Vlosten, Josh Gibcus, Nathan Broad, and then on the halfback, Jaden Short, Noah Balta, Tom Brown. So obviously Noah Balta, he's in the best 23, but we're not going to see him round one.
Yeah, so we think that there could be some others that will replace him, replace him given the fact he's going to miss the first month of football. But Josh Gibcus is one that I think Richmond fans will delight at seeing his name. He's had a wretched run of injuries since being drafted a couple of years back now, obviously with the ACL last year too. Everyone can remember the devastating photos and images of him kind of just in shock that he did his knee. I think it was against the Blues as well in round one. So great to have him back. I think he can be anything. I'm really keen to watch how he develops over the years. I think Richmond also can really use him and work around him as a key focal point in their defensive lineup. And also another one there that's cemented his spot, aside from the regular Richmond faces, is Tom Brown. They love his ball use. He can play both tall and small. He's a bit of an intercept defender as well. But again, another player who's going to be watched closely as the year progresses.
All right, so the midfield, starting with the main ruck, obviously Toby Nankervis, Tim Taranto, Jacob Hopper, and Dion Pressia making up that engine room. And then on the wings, Hugo Ralph-Smith and Jack Ross. So, like a lot of teams, they look great on paper.
Yeah, I mean, they get a lot of experience there, a lot of talented midfielders, and obviously Nanko has been a great ruck too. But I think as well, just aside from the on-field, that group of 6 there is where the development will come from the young guys. These essentially are, obviously Nankervis being the captain, are the new leaders of the Tiger group. Obviously, they've got a few defenders as well that played in premierships, but these guys can really drive the standards both at training and on field, setting the young guys on a great path to forge their careers and successful careers, but also still have a bit of a major influence and impact on field too.
All right, so the forward line, starting on the half forward, so Sam Lawler, McKelty Lafau, Ryan Mansell, and then Morris Rioli, Tom Lynch, and Seth Campbell. So we'll start with, obviously, the #1 pick there, Sam Lawler.
Yeah, so all signs are showing that he's going to be an absolute star. Likened to Richmond great Dustin Martin with his power, explosiveness, and goal-scoring ability, and especially impact too. But given the fact, again, he's just kind of entered the AFL system. It's only been a few months. We're going to start him outside, I guess, the main engine room. He might get spurts in there, here and there. But playing across half forward and just learning the ropes of AFL football there, I think will be good for him and his development.
Yep, absolutely. And then obviously McKelty Lafau and Tom Lynch coming back from injury. Really liked Lafau as well.
Yeah, well, Richmond kind of seemed aimless up there, as they probably did all of last year, just given the fact they were wretched by injuries and just a lot of talent too. But the return of Tom Lynch will immediately straighten them up. I recall even that game they won against Sydney last year, which people probably forgotten and still don't believe. I think he kicked 3 goals and then actually kind of turned the game and won it for him just before he got injured again, which seems to be the consistent narrative with him. And same as Lafau, he kind of provides another key target up there. A little bit different and unique given the fact he has a rugby background, so kind of sees the game a little bit differently. But those two are huge ins for the Tigers in 2025.
All right, so rounding out the 23 with the interchange, we have Josh Smiley, Steely Green, Kane McAuliffe, Jacob Bauer, and then Sam Banks as the sub. So let's start with Josh Smiley.
Yeah, another one of those illustrious picks that the Tigers picked up in last year's draft. He was, I think, pick 7, so he's just going to slot straight into the senior lineup. He's a superstar. already ready-made for AFL football. I think he stands at 195, 96 centimetres. Got a little bit of size from him already, which is pretty rare for an 18, 19-year-old. So we do think he's going to start immediately. Again, all training reports indicate that he's doing really well. No injury doubts or clouds at the moment, touch wood. Sorry, Josh, probably shouldn't have said that. But again, we think we're going to see him very early on, and it could be that Thursday night against Carlton in round 1.
All right, so that's our 23 for Richmond coming into this year. So interesting. Only 2 of the illustrious high draft picks have made it into our best 23. There's also those other 4 that we'll probably see at some stage, but not quite yet.
Yeah, well, 3 of those other 4 that were from the first round in Harry Armstrong, John Tiffel, Luke Trainer, all key position players. And generally speaking, they take a little bit longer to develop into their own as opposed to maybe a midfielder or a small forward or even defender. So we've given them a bit more time to kind of just work into their own. But that's, again, not to say that they won't be seen in 2025.
Yep. And a couple of others that are probably stiff to miss, Tyler Young and Ben Miller.
Well, we also think, given the fact that Noah Balta's suspension, despite us naming him in our best 23, he obviously won't be there for the first month of football. So either Tyler Young or Ben Miller will lock down that key position role. And we think that, they'll be definitely in the mix come round 1.
Yep, absolutely. So thank you, Aidan, for breaking that down for us. Let us know in the comments if you think this is Richmond's best 23 coming into 2025. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. We've got plenty of footy content coming out this year, and catch all the latest AFL news at zerohanger.com.